A new year dawns on the Nova Roma Imperium, and fate has smiled upon them. The new Roman Empire has declared war on the British Empire in an attempt to gain sovereignty over Mare Nostrum, our sea from the Royal Navy, and in an almighty clash off the coast of Alexandria, the British were sunk to the bottom of the sea. The British forces fought bravely and nobly, but they were outgunned, outclassed, and ultimately unsuccessful, and the Italian forces, scoring quite high in their gunnery practice, have managed to sink them to the bottom of the ocean. I believe during the course of the battle, the Italians suffered about 5 hits to the British 11 hits in total. So quite successful, and that gained the Nova Roma Imperium the distinction of being masters of the Mediterranean. But not quite yet. The gatekeepers of their sea are still the British Empire, holding on to Egypt as well as Gibraltar. And now it is up to the Italian forces, the Roman forces, to gain full sovereignty and full dominance and fully embrace their destiny as owners and keepers of their sea, and to wrest control from the British Empire of these territories so that they can finally say that this is not only the waters are free, but the gates to our lake are all ours as well. Welcome all to Operation Valkyrie. We are playing as the Roman forces, the new Roman Empire, or otherwise known as the Italian forces. We've just added some little flavor packs just for the fun of it. It does nothing to add to the game except for fun. So before we get started, let's talk about some of the housekeeping thing that we need to take care of. So Iraq doesn't actually flip to join the Italians up until the German turn. So we had to revert that back. We don't collect those $2 of income, and now at the German turn, they became ours. Another thing that worthwhile taking a look at, and that was pointed out by the veteran, by the way. Another thing to look at here is in South Africa. Myself and the Commonwealth player both thought that South Africa was empty of troops, and so we simply walked on to Italian forces. We were afterwards told that there was actually a militia there, and so in that case, we decided, you know what, let's not walk onto there, and let's just walk onto Aden instead. So there needs to be some income adjustment on both sides. The Italians have dropped down by 3 IPCs, and the British have gained 1 for the British, but lost 2 for the loss of the national objective here, or the wartime bonus of Aden. So that's what's going on there. And I believe there's one other thing that we need to talk about. Oh yeah, one last thing. So when it comes to militia upgrades or building out factories, so you do still have to trace a supply path from your home country. So that means that this German sub can interdict anything coming into this territory. So we do have to roll for that interdiction because in the light of South Africa, the British have changed their purchase here and not purchased a cavalry. But still they go ahead with the militia upgrade here, a militia upgrade here, and infantry purchase there. So we get to roll for some interdiction. And so we'll get started with that right away here. So let's roll for the militia upgrade in Rhodesia. That is rolling 2 dice 6. The attacker is red, the defender is blue, and draws are won by the defender. So let's see what those results are. Nothing for the Rhodesia. Let's roll for the militia upgrade in Egypt itself. Again, militia upgrade, attacker is red. That one is successful, so the militia don't upgrade in Egypt. And that money goes to waste, I guess. And lastly, we have another infantry purchase here in that theater, and that goes through. So about where the dice should be, I suppose. That seems to work out to the average. And they still got the best of both worlds, where if they had to take a hit, that would be the place to take a hit, because they still get that militia over here, but they get the infantry too, so that's quite nice. All right, that takes care of that. We've adjusted our income already. I think let's get started with the turn. So for our purchases, we have 59 PCs. So we're going to go 4 for colonial, 4 for marine, and 2 infantry for 6. So that leaves us at 14, and with $1 left over. Now let's go for our tech rolls, which are on this side here. We're going to roll for our airborne doctrine here, and we're expecting to miss this one, just because we've been successful in the past, and we miss it. So yeah, that leaves us at 2. All right, that works out to the dice average there. And now let's go on to our movements on the board. So let's see, we're going to move this infantry to Sudan, from Abyssinia, from Nubia to Upper Egypt, and infantry is going to walk on there. So we're going to just simply flip these ones as well. No money changes hands just yet. And from Italian Somaliland to Abyssinia, 1 artillery and 1 colonial infantry from Italian Somaliland, and a cavalry is going to move 2 spaces to Nubia. This is in non-combat, but because I want to kind of move through this quickly, I'm going to do it all together. From Aden, I'm going to take this transport, and we're going to move 2 units from Aden, and they're going to land in Egypt. I think we need that extra oomph to help take out the enemy. And now we're going to do a general attack into Egypt as well. So from Transjordan, the 2 units there, mountain infantry and infantry into Lower Egypt. Again, a non-combat here from northern Iraq to southern Iraq for 1 infantry. We're going to move from western Egypt, all 4 of our units there, 2 infantry, an Italian AA, and a motorized infantry into Lower Egypt as well. And I should mention too that the Germans have landed their forces here. The Deutsches Afrika Korps with Rommel have made a landing. We shall see what they get up to, if they move westwards to help secure the western side of things, or if they help us take out Cairo, and perhaps they might even move out eastwards towards India as well. Who knows at this point. We're going to send these two subs from C-Zone M8, and they're going to go all the way out here into the A44 to do some strategic convoy raiding against the enemy. And then we're going to send this transport back to from M8 to M4, pick up an infantry, and drop him off in Lower Egypt on the way back here. We're going to do some shore bombardment with 2 heavy cruisers and a battleship. Now, in regards to that, so the heavy cruisers, so the battleship is going to support the guy coming in from this side, but it's a question too if you could have your heavy cruisers support the bombardment for ships coming in from a different sea zone. I've looked through the rules briefly and I haven't come across it in the rules. If it's in some FAQ somewhere, then that's another story, but that's what I found in the rules. I could not see anything else saying that they all must come from the same sea zone. So I'll roll these ones separately just to make sure that's all, so it's all good. And I'm going to take a quick peek on the map here. Another non-combat from Lazio to Rome, and from Rome north, we're going to move some shuffle militia northwards, and from northern Italy to southern Italy, 2 infantry are going to make their way down there. And that takes care of basically all of our combat moves and non-combat moves across the board. So now let's roll for the situation there in Lower Egypt. We've set up the dice, and oh yeah, we're also sending in these aircraft as well, so we don't want to forget that. So that's 2 fighters and a tactical bomber, and the seaplane is going to make its way and land in Sardinia. Alright, so let's get started on this battle here. Actually, we're going to roll for the submarine rating first. So here's our first roll. So that's, again, attacker red, defender blue. And we got 2 damage against that convoy line. Another submarine. Same thing. You know what? I feel like I don't know if that's legit or not, but because it's exactly the same, I feel like I need to roll that again, because I think they just went down the exact same amount, because I didn't move my mouse or anything like that. I think I have to hit R really to get a good roll going, and I'll do it for both. Because that was, yeah, there we go. We've got, I mean, we could talk about that if you like, but there's some differences there, because what happened was I cloned the dice and I placed them here, and they just rolled just evenly and nicely and didn't actually tumble down. They just rolled nicely as mathematical precision and hit 2 and 2, and then again they came down 2 and 2. So it's up to you guys if you want to accept the new results. The old results, you could talk about it, but I feel like the mechanics of yeah, okay, that one's better because they actually tumble down. Alright, so it's up to you guys if you want to accept that, but from what it looked like on my angle, it was something along the lines of, what was that, 5? Anyways, I can't remember exactly what the first roll was. 6 and a 1, so probably the best that it could be. So again, I don't know what to make of that. Let's go on to the battle and leave our opponents to hassle that out exactly what they want to see from that. Alright, so the first rolls that we do is our 2 heavy cruisers and our battleships. So that's that. And the enemy has an artillery present here as well. Now they also don't have an oopsie daisy. They don't have an infantry because one of their militia was not on the map. They don't have a militia here present, so I'll just steal one from here. Boom. Place it on the 2 spot, so they get a 2 dice. And they also get to roll on artillery. So these are all first strikes. Let's see what the results are. 1 hit here by the battleship. And let's see what the results are for the artillery coming in for a first strike. And they miss. So there's that. That's lucky. Now my thinking is that the British will take it on their artillery since the artillery has already fired. That's what I would do in their circumstance. Okay, I should also say that since 3 of these guys are coming amphibiously, I did check in the rules to see if the enemy scores 2 hits if I take off these 3 infantry, or if I would take off one of the landing forces as well. But it looks like double casualties only apply to the units coming in from the sea. So I think once we run out of sea units, then we don't have to worry about any more land units. So we'll leave it at that for now. That would make sense to me in that case too, but let's leave it at that. Let's roll for our dice here. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, roll for our dice. So that's all these pink dice here. We have an anti-aircraft dice, and then we have our aircraft here. Alright. Now the anti-aircraft, you know, they potentially, that's just cannon fodder essentially as far as I'm concerned. Quite poor rolls here for the first round. But, yeah. So only 1s would hit for the pinks. A lot of these are cock dice. But that says it's a 7. It almost looks like a 1, but it's a 7. This guy says it's a 1. And this is a 6. These guys are 12 and an 8. So we have 2 hits on the first round. Not as good as it could be, but you know what? 2 dice was about lower than the average, but not a horrible number either. So 2 damage. Let's say the enemy would take down a militia and an infantry there. And on their end of things, we'd roll these dice. Let's see what the results are here. They have 3 damage against us. Oh, no, sorry, that militia would miss. That militia would miss. It's this 1 and the 2. So yeah, 2 damage against us. So we would lose these 3 units here. By my math, that's what it works out to be. Now, arguably, if we do lose an extra units, we could say the anti-aircraft gun would lose a unit there as well. Yeah, but nonetheless, let's just leave it at that. They lost 2 dice. I believe that leaves them with 5 left. Did I miss out on a dice roll? Oh yeah, because we took off the militia. So we're going to move these off here. So 5 of theirs left. And on our end of things, we lose 3 dice. So we're going into round 2. We don't roll this purple dice as well. We have 5 infantry here. And, yeah, in our air forces. So let's move this over here. Round 2. So we have some two hits again. The aircraft have failed for the second time in a row. So 2 hits. It looks like that's going to be our average each turn. And the opponent has 5 dice here. Now statistically they should hit about 2 times as well. And it looks like they might not hit any times at all. This one here is a cock dice. No hits on the second round. Statistically they would have hit 1.6 times. So no hits on their end of things, so they're slightly unlucky there. We take off 2 of their units, and moving ourselves into the next round. Let's see, now finally my fighters hit and my tactical bombers. So we have 3 hits, which is enough to take them out. And yeah, the militia was out for a bit now, and their remaining 3 units managed to do some damage against us. So we did have them outnumbered, both with pips as well as units. So even if they did a regular amount of damage against us, it still would not quite have worked out. So yeah, they did not weren't successful for the second time in a row. So they did undershoot by a bit for sure, but we didn't completely demolish them dice wise. We were only rolling a steady amount. It just so happened that they weren't quite successful on their rolls. So it's one of those things. All right, I believe that's it. We've managed to take out Cairo. Good. That's all there needs to be said on that matter, I suppose. So, let's see. That's resolved. I think we have 4 units left over, so our amphibious forces were sunk. And I believe all their forces were sunk as well. Took less casualties than expected, for sure. For sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the motorized there. Yep, there we have it. So we've captured that territory, and with less losses than expected. I did expect to take a couple more guys down, but we just were lucky this time around, I suppose. Oh, one of these guys is not supposed to be there. There we have it. So we've managed to capture that area. We've done everything we need to do otherwise. Every non-combat thing is done as well. We just put our units on the board here and go to collect income. So our income has gone up by, now it goes up by 2 here. This thing is going to land in port, just so you all know. And likewise, this naval transport is going to land in this port too. Alright. Yeah, I believe that's it. So our income goes up by 2. Make that 3 for Cairo as well. So we are at 15 here. That makes it 18. And so we collect income. Did I say 18? Yeah, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23. We have 23 bucks for the next round due to having 1 saved and also getting a little bit of a bonus from these 2 features here. Lower Egypt and Gibraltar. So that's quite nice. And that'll about do it, gentlemen. So thank you. Oh, I guess our aircraft have to land. We're going to land them in Tobruk. Yep, that'll about do it. Okay, gents, thank you all for watching, and yeah, another successful turn for the Italian forces. Now, I don't know what we want to do in this circumstance. If we want to just take the lower of 2 numbers, I feel it was a bit of a glitch in regards to my dice tower, because I cloned them, and then I threw them into the dice tower, and instead of tumbling, they just went end over end until they came down here, and then I just simply grabbed them, scrolled my mouse up this way without moving my mouse, just use the arrow keys to move up and drop them in the exact same spot as before, and they came out to the exact same results. So that's the reason why I feel it was flawed, but ultimately I wasn't trying to roll for better numbers, I was just simply trying to be honest about it. But hey, ultimately it's all good either way we do it. That's it, gents. Thanks all for watching. Cheers.